It's a way of the Mr. Quickie, oh yeah.
If you are unfamiliar with Stephen Law, boy, you are really missing out. He's a brilliant British philosopher at Oxford University, who, despite being 5 years older than me, looks 10 years younger. But please, don't send him hate mail on my account if you don't have to. He does some really terrific work, so I've completely forgiven him slightly. Plus, I feel bad for the guy. He's got that classic British accent, which makes everything he says sound like he's, well, not too bright. You know what I'm talking about. Stephen has come to be known for his evil God hypothesis, which he articulated quite well despite the accent in his debate with our good buddy Low Bar Bill, Christian apologist ordinaire William Lane Craig.
Suppose that, after a bump on the head, I become convinced that the universe is the creation of a single all-powerful designer. However, I also believe this being is evil. I'm sure you consider the idea of such an evil creator absurd. Why? Well, one obvious reason for dismissing the idea is that our world is clearly not the sort of world an all-powerful and maximally evil being would create. Take a look at it. Yes, it contains suffering, but it also contains a great deal of good. If you believe in a good God, you face the problem of explaining why there's so much bad stuff in the world. If you believe in an evil God, you face the mirror problem of explaining why there's so much good. So why, we might ask, if the problem of good is fatal to the evil God hypothesis, and surely it is the problem of evil not similarly fatal to the good God hypothesis? If one hypothesis is pretty straightforwardly falsified by observation of the world around us, why isn't the other one?
Of course, Christians entirely missed the point. Stephen's argument is that evidence of so much good in our world is a defeating argument for the hypothesis of an all-evil God. Thus, evidence of so much evil in our world is likewise a defeating argument for an all-good God. Instead of understanding Stephen's point, Christians have mounted an attack on the metaphysical possibility of an all-evil God, asserting that such a being could not possibly exist. Thus, they argue, there is no meaningful analogy to be made. Inspiring Philosophy made an entire 12.5-minute video regurgitating this point over and over and over again, never realizing that the metaphysical possibility is irrelevant to the thought experiment. Stephen's point stands. If boatloads of good in our world, which we see all around us, would defeat the notion of an all-evil God, then boatloads of evil, which we also see all around us, should defeat the notion of an all-good God. The world we see and experience every day does not align with either hypothesis. If there is a God, the evidence of our everyday experience suggests only one thing. That being doesn't give a damn about us one way or the other. Pun intended. Were there to exist a maximally evil God, we could rest assured that such a being would create a world of ultimate malevolence, a world of pain, evil, and suffering, a world where sentient beings able to suffer great pain would be made to suffer the most unimaginable horrors without end or respite, based not on how they treated their fellow sentient creatures, but rather on something petty and almost random with no moral value, over which these sentient creatures can assert no ultimate control. Like, I don't know, whether or not one is convinced of a particular proposition. That's the world we'd find if a maximally evil God were to exist. A world of pure horror, evil, and suffering. And that's simply and objectively not the world we see all around us. At least not yet. Once again, I'm me. Thanks for watching.